Even though MIT has succeeded in proposing a perfect and scientifically viable hypothesis regarding molecular imprinting involved in homeopathic potentization, as well as the explanation of similia similibus curentia as an application of competitive relationship of chemical molecules in biological interactions, it is only the first step. This hypothesis has to be proved by scientific method for getting it finally accepted as a scientific theory. Scientific method is a body of techniques for investigating phenomena, acquiring new knowledge, or correcting and integrating previous knowledge. Scientific method is an empirical method of acquiring knowledge that has characterized the development of science since at least the 17th century. It involves careful observation, applying rigorous skepticism about what is observed, given that cognitive assumptions can distort how one interprets the observation. It involves formulating hypotheses, via induction, based on such observations, experimental and measurement-based testing of deductions drawn from the hypotheses, and refinement or elimination of the hypotheses based on the experimental findings. To be termed scientific, a method of inquiry must be based on empirical and measurable evidence subject to specific principles of reasoning. Scientific method is a method or procedure consisting in systematic observation, measurement, and experiment, and the formulation, testing, and modification of a proposed hypothesis. The chief characteristic which distinguishes a scientific method of inquiry from other methods of acquiring knowledge is that scientists seek to let reality speak for itself. Hypothesis is raised to the status of theory when the predictions based on hypothesis are confirmed. Hypothesis is discarded or modified when its predictions prove false. Scientific researchers proposes a hypothesis as explanations for an unexplained but known phenomenon, and design experimental studies to test this hypothesis via predictions which can be derived from them. These steps must be repeatable, to guard against mistake or confusion in any particular experimenter. Certain researches may encompass wider domains of inquiry that may bind many independently derived hypotheses together in a coherent, supportive structure. A hypothesis is derived as a tentative answer to a naturally arising question regarding a known phenomenon. To be considered scientifically viable, a hypothesis must be falsifiable, meaning that one can identify a possible outcome of an experiment that conflicts with predictions deduced from the hypothesis through a null hypothesis, otherwise, it cannot be meaningfully tested. According to scientific method, predictions, testing and analysis are the essential steps in the validation of a scientific hypothesis.